Hey, Fidelity. What's it cost to invest with the Fidelity app?
Start with as little as $1 with no account fees or trade commissions on U.S. stocks and ETFs.
That's music to my ears.
I can only talk.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Sell order assessment fee not included. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a transaction-based service fee of $100. See full list at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
Ready to ring in the new semester? Pink's got A-plus styles for heading back to campus. Made for early morning classes, midday coffee runs, and late-night study sessions. Their latest looks are everything you need to pass with flying colors. We're talking tanks that go with literally every fit, parachute pants with a throwback 90s vibe, plus cute sweaters, activewear, and so much more. Shop now at pink.com or get 15% off in Pink stores with a valid student ID. Exclusions apply.
Thanks for listening to the Red Treehouse, where I tell scary stories to keep you up at night. You can listen to the Red Treehouse on your favorite streaming platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe. Oh, and leave a 5-star review. You can follow the Red Treehouse on social media, on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, X, Threads, and Facebook at Red Treehouse Pod. And now you can find the Red Treehouse on Patreon. Join the Red Treehouse community for as little as $3 per month and receive exclusive member benefits, including personal shoutouts, early access to episodes, bonus episodes, and more. Simply go to patreon.com/Red Treehouse. As always, if you have a scary story or topic you'd like me to feature on an upcoming episode, email redtreehousepod@gmail.com. Sources for this episode can be found in the show notes. Before we begin our episode, I want to offer a few words. The Red Treehouse is a passion project of mine, born out of an amazing idea from my daughter, who suggested I tell scary stories to keep you up at night. But, without a doubt, one of my biggest supporters has been my dad, who loves everything about the Red Treehouse. Not limited to the podcast, my dad has supported and celebrated every milestone in my life, and has shown up in some of the most difficult seasons of my life. Because of this, I am proud to dedicate the Red Treehouse to him. For as long as the Red Treehouse is produced, it will be in his honor and with him in heart and mind. I love you, Pop. To date, I've published 35 episodes of the Red Treehouse, with stories spanning the paranormal spectrum, hauntings, possessions and exorcisms, cryptids, urban legends, and more. What's fascinating, though, is two of the most popular episodes are Red Treehouse Episode 2, Scary Games to Play in the Dark, and Episode 11, Scary Games to Play in the Mirror. It seems listeners really enjoy hearing about, and possibly playing, games designed to scare the hell out of them. The feedback on these episodes has been consistent, super interesting to listen to, too scary to play. Even now, I'm still working up the courage to play these games. And I'll admit, I hold a mix of curiosity and concern each time I think about it. In today's episode of the Red Treehouse, we're going to explore more scary games to play in the dark. In this case, 4 games and rituals from around the world. Each one has its own set of rules and expectations, rewards and consequences, and scare factor. The games are not listed in any order. Remember, it's up to you to decide which is the least and most scary. But there is something else. Where lots of games can be played with a friend or a small group, these games can only be played by yourself. do you have the courage to play one or all of these scary games? I'll share the details. You decide for yourself. I'm your host, Will. Welcome to the Red Treehouse. Our first game comes to us from Japan and is called Man Chit-Chat. Are you interested in having a conversation with something otherworldly? Then this game is for you. Appearing on message boards in the early 2010s, Man Chit-Chat allows a player to open a portal and invite something in. Something that may not leave as easily or as quickly as it entered. There are a few items required to play Man Chit-Chat. First, you'll need 2 chairs. Then, you'll need to find a dark, quiet room, preferably with no windows. You'll need a glass of water. And finally, you'll need a strand of hair from your own head. Here's how to play. First, choose a night to play the game. On your chosen night, go to the dark, quiet room you've selected, and if there are windows, be sure to close the curtains or block them entirely. You must make sure that no light gets into the room. Next, set up the chairs in the dark room. Make sure they're close enough to each other where you can speak at a normal volume without having to shout or raise your voice. Next, bring the glass of water into the room and close the door behind you. Turn off all the lights and make sure the room is dark. Now, it's time for a chat. Start by placing the strand of hair in the glass of water. Then, and I'll warn you this is gross, drink the full glass of water, including the strand of hair. Next, sit in one of the chairs. You are free to choose whichever chair you like. Just make sure that the other chair remains empty. Once you're seated, begin speaking to the empty chair across from you. You may speak about whatever you want. Literally, anything. Talk about deep stuff. Talk about shallow stuff. Talk about movies, music, hobbies, sports, your biggest hopes and dreams, your deepest secrets, longings, and regrets. The options are limitless. But there's an important rule. Whatever you choose to talk about, quote, must be something that would cause someone listening to hang on to your every word, end quote. Talk for as long as you like, but make sure it's engrossing and captivating. At some point, allow your voice to soften and trail off. But another rule. This cannot be forced or scripted. It needs to happen naturally. Then, once you've stopped talking, sit silently. Breathe. Don't speak. And focus on the empty chair and pay attention. If you've done this successfully, you'll notice the chair is not empty. You won't see anything in the chair. Instead, you'll feel and know that you're not alone. Whoever or whatever is there is listening intently to you, hanging on to your every word. And they just might talk back to you. How do you end the game? Simply saying goodbye is often good enough. But if this fails, apologize. Whatever you do, though, do not get up and leave abruptly and without a word. Though these are often enough to end the game peacefully, it's also possible that whatever sat in the chair simply won't leave. Our second game comes to us from Russia and is called Shurtik, or the Little Devil Game. According to one website, the Little Devil Game is, quote, part ritual, part game of knowledge, end quote. The game involves a makeshift spirit board, one that allows you to converse with the little devil, and, in some cases, the devil himself. An important reminder: if you converse with a devil, remember, they are dishonest and known to tell lies. There are a few items required to play the Little Devil Game. First, you need to find a dark, quiet room. You'll need a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. You'll need a needle and spool of thread. Any color thread is allowed, though red or black is preferred. You'll need a pair of scissors, a bow compass, a candle and matches or lighter, and finally, questions to ask. Please use caution when playing this game, and if at all possible, avoid playing it altogether. Here's how to play. First, place the piece of paper on a flat surface inside the chosen room. Then, using the bow compass and pen or pencil, draw a circle on the paper. An important note: the circle should be large, but also leave space between the edge of the circle and the edge of the paper. Then, draw a dot in the center of the circle. Around the dot, draw a small picture of a devil. An important note: the picture must have cloven hooves, a forked tail, and horns. And the dot should be placed where the devil's heart would be. After you've completed the picture, write the alphabet on the outer edge of the circle. Important note: the letter A should be positioned directly above the head of the devil. On the inner edge of the circle, write the numbers 0 through 9. The 0 should align with the letter A. Directly above the devil's head, write the word yes. Finally, directly below the devil's feet, write the word no. Now let's play the game. First, turn off all the lights in your chosen room. If there are windows, close the blinds or curtains. Make sure the room is completely dark. Then, light the candle and place it near the piece of paper. Using the scissors, cut a piece of thread about 20 inches long. Then thread the needle and knot the ends. The needle should dangle approximately 10 inches below the knot. Then, speak out loud, saying, quote, "Forces of darkness, I ask for your help," end quote. Hold the needle up to the candle's flame, allowing it to get hot. Remove the needle from the flame and dangle it over the piece of paper. Position the needle point on the dot at the center of the devil picture. The dot representing the devil's heart. Important note: you may dig the needle point into the paper. Just be sure you don't dig too deep. Then, say aloud twice, quote, little devil, come, end quote. Then ask, quote, little devil, are you here? End quote. Pay close attention to the needle. If the needle does not move, indicates no, or gives a nonsensical answer, do not proceed with the game. We'll talk more about this in a few moments. If the needle indicates yes, then proceed. It's now time to converse with the little devil. Ask your first question. Be sure to start every question with little devil. Then, pay close attention to the needle. If the needle does not move, ask another question. If the needle swings, note where it stops. It may spell out messages. Continue asking questions for as long as you're comfortable. How do we end the game? First, say aloud, little devil, be gone. Use the scissors to cut the thread and remove it from the needle. Then, hold the thread to the candle's flame until it burns away completely. Turn on the lights. Open the window blinds or curtains. And as quickly as possible, destroy the piece of paper. Finally, take the needle as far away as you can and bury it in the ground. A couple of important details. I mentioned earlier that if when you start the game the needle does not move, indicates no, or gives a nonsensical answer, do not proceed with the game. If this happens, immediately cut the thread from the needle. Place the thread over the flame and burn it completely. Destroy the paper and bury the needle in the ground. It is not recommended that you proceed with the game, as whatever you've summoned is malevolent and has evil intentions. It is also recommended that prior to starting the game, that you remove all metal jewelry and do not carry or wear, quote, any items depicting religious iconography, end quote. Make sure every question you ask begins with little devil. If, after a while, the answers to your questions become nonsensical or stop entirely, end the game immediately, following the instructions given earlier. Remember, the answers you receive may not be truthful. After all, devils are liars and manipulative. And a final note. It is possible that after playing this game, you may be sensitive to religious icons, pictures, or jewelry. If this is the case, it is possible you got more than you bargained for, and the little devil has taken up residence. Our third game comes to us from the United States and is called the hosting game. One of the scariest games out there is the hosting game. Because even if the game doesn't work, it plays on your psyche. Also known as Don't Look Back, this game is not for the faint of heart, and in fact, requires nerves of steel. There are a few items required to play the hosting game. First, you'll need to find a small dark room, preferably with no windows. You'll need a pen or pencil and a piece of paper. You'll need a watch or an analog clock. And important note, Do not use a cell phone or digital watch with the light. Finally, you'll need 3 matches. Now let's play the game. First, choose a night to play the hosting game. Be sure to keep the matches and clock with you at all times. If the room you've chosen has windows, close the blinds or curtains and ensure no light gets into the room. Also, turn off all possible sources of noise throughout your home. Once you've done this, enter the hosting room and turn on the light. Place the piece of paper and pen or pencil in the hosting room. Leave the light on in the hosting room and go to the furthest room in your house and state, quote, "I'll be ready soon," end quote. Then, walk room by room saying this phrase. When you get back to the hosting room, write this message on the piece of paper. Quote, "You are invited. A gathering, hosted by," insert your name, "takes place from the current time to an hour from the current time. Bring your friends," end quote. Once you've done this, place the piece of paper in the center of the room. Then, stand in the doorway of the hosting room, facing outside of the hosting room, and call out, quote, "I'm ready. Come on in," end quote. The hosting game has officially begun. Once you've done this, turn off the light and turn around, with the open door facing your back and you facing the darkness of the room. Take out the 3 matches and remain silent. After a few moments, begin counting out loud from 0 to 10. Whatever you do not look back. When you reach 10, light the first match. If the match lights on the first strike, hold it as it burns and greet your guests, stating, quote, "I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for coming." Remember, do not look back. Then, light the second match. If the match lights on the first strike, hold it as it burns and greet your guests, stating, "I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for coming." Again, do not look back. Then, light the third match. If the match lights on the first strike, hold it as it burns and greet your guests, stating, "I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for coming." Whatever you do not look back. After you've done this, keep an eye on your clock. Once it shows the finishing time, say out loud, quote, "Thank you for coming. Goodbye," end quote. Then turn on the light. The gathering is over, and it's possible the guests have left. A few important notes. It is possible the matches won't light. Maybe 1 won't light. Maybe 2 won't light. Maybe all 3 won't light. If any of the matches do not light on the first strike, drop the match and move on to the next one. If all 3 matches fail to light on the first strike, you have uninvited guests. It is important that no matter what happens, that you do not look back, that you do not turn around, and that you do not look at the doorway. Run to the light as fast as you can and turn it on. Our final game comes to us from the United States and is called the Baby Blue Challenge. The Baby Blue Challenge seems to be an urban legend or folktale, similar in some ways to the classic Bloody Mary. This one is unique in that you don't see anything. Instead, you feel something. I'm not sure there's a creepier combination than a dark room, a mirror, and a ghost child. Here's how to play. First, choose a night to play the Baby Blue Challenge. On the chosen night, go to your bathroom. Be sure to turn off all the lights. And also, be sure to lock the door. Then, stand facing the mirror. Now, while facing the mirror, imagine you're holding a baby. Gently rock your arms back and forth in front of the mirror. And as you do this, repeat, quote, "Blue baby, baby blue," 13 times. Then, remain calm. At this point, you may start to feel weight in your arms, or a scratching feeling. If you feel scratching on your arm, don't panic. You need to act fast, but you also need to complete the ritual by first pretending to drop the weight into the toilet, then flushing the toilet, finally unlocking the door and leaving the bathroom as quickly as you can. If nothing else happens, congratulations. You played and survived the Baby Blue Challenge. We've covered all 4 games, but I have a bonus for you. I'm going to tell you how to tell if your house is haunted. Haven't you always wondered if someone or something was living in your home, cozying up next to you, unseen and unheard, but still there? Well, let me help. To do this, you'll need a smartphone with a high-resolution camera with video recording capabilities. You'll simply record 2 videos. Here's how to record the first. Choose a room to record in. With your smartphone in hand, stand in the middle of the room. Open the camera, set it to record, and adjust it to the rear-facing lens. Hold the phone in front of you, with the rear-facing lens pointing into the room and the screen facing you. Close your eyes and begin recording. Be sure to keep your eyes closed. Then, rotate in place, clockwise, once. Be sure to keep your eyes closed. After a full rotation, open your eyes, stop recording, and save the video. Here's how to record the second video. First, hold the phone in front of you, with the phone screen pointing into the room, and the rear-facing lens pointing at you. Close your eyes and begin recording. Be sure to keep your eyes closed. Once again, you'll rotate in place, clockwise, once. Keep your eyes closed. After a full rotation, open your eyes, stop recording, save the video, and leave the room immediately. It's important that you not review the videos until you've left the room. The question is your home haunted? After you've left the room, open the camera and watch the first video. Pay close attention. Do you see anything? Then watch the second video. Pay close attention. Do you see anything? After watching both videos, what did you notice? If you see nothing unusual, congratulations. Your home is not haunted. But if you see something unusual, it's possible you're not the only one there. Unusual observations include, quote, shadows, pixelation of the video in whole or in part, blurring of the video in whole or in part, audio anomalies, visual noise or static, and figures or anything else present in the video that do not exist in the physical room itself. End quote. Of all the episodes I've recorded over the past few months, these Scary Games episodes are among my favorite. In a way, they serve as a reminder that the spooky and supernatural transcend culture. In fact, most of these games have variations from country to country. As we close this episode of the Red Treehouse, I'll ask the original question. Do you have the courage to play one or all of these scary games? If so, email your experience to redtreehousepod@gmail.com, and I'll feature it in an upcoming episode. Is it possible these games open a portal to an unknown realm, inviting unwelcome guests to your home? Or worse, to possess your mind, body, and soul? I've shared the details. Now you decide for yourself. I'm your host, Will. Thanks for joining me in the Red Treehouse.